you're with me, we are going to work fast. We're going to move forward. Total of 30 to 40. Well, that is some amazing thinking. And Mona, what's your price point? Guys, put your price point of your premium offer as it is right now. We can take a look at tweaking that throughout the week. This first hour is an opportunity to be able to ask questions. So we're going to lean in and solve some problems today. Who would like to have some problem solved? Too high ticket. Amen. Absolutely. And lean in to put what that price point is. What would that look like for you per price? So then I want you to take the amount of clients that you would like to have this week, and I want you to take your absolute highest price point, and I want you to multiply those. So if you are thinking 3 to 5 clients, 2 to 3 clients, 30 clients, whatever it is, and then your price point, I want you to multiply those together for me and put that in the chat. Put that in the chat. Is everybody putting those in right now? You know, you don't have to be great at math. You just have to estimate, you know, or what you could do, and this is my favorite way of actually doing it, is to say, what amount of money would you like to have this week? And then from there, you get to decide, because often people say to me, Coach Heaven, how do I figure out my price point? The truth is, you get to decide how much you are going to be paid, right? The word decide actually means to cut yourself off from any other outcome. So you're making a decision about that. Okay, so those are a couple of questions. Third question, what do you feel is in your way? What do you really feel is in your way right now of you being able to, now let's look at that number of clients, that price point, and bringing in that amount of money. What is in your way? Is it a belief system? Is it a mindset? Is it just a lack of skills? Sometimes we don't realize that it's a lack of skills. Is it thinking marketing consistently? So sometimes we think that it's something that it's actually not. So I'm hoping that this week you are going to feel like you're drinking through a fire hose, that the problems you thought were in your way are actually making a way, or that the problems you thought were the problems, you start to realize those are actually not the biggest problems. Some of the things that I hear from people are not enough leads, not enough conversations, not enough people appear, you know, in front of my rooms. You know, sometimes people don't know what to say next. Does anybody here? Sometimes you're not sure, what do I say next? Are you following up consistently? Is your team supporting you in the way that you need them to? Are they moving the conversations forward? Do you have anyone say they can't afford it? Are you uncertain if that is actually a real objection? Are you afraid of feeling like you're being salesy? Are you afraid of appearing pushy? What do you currently believe that it is? Because whatever you're thinking it is in your mind is the way you're currently solving your problem. It may not actually be the real problem, but it's what you're thinking is the problem. So for day one, your first explanation may be accurate, but it may also be incomplete. And if your diagnosis is wrong, your strategy will be wrong. Can I get a witness in the chat? So if you believe you need more leads, you're going to spend the rest of this week searching for more people. Does anyone here have 100 people that have not bought from you in your audience right now? Put a yes in the chat. Is there 100 people who have not bought from you in your? So let me just help you with some of those numbers before we move forward, because I want you guys to be ready for some questions with me. So if we have 100 people in our audience right now who have never bought from us, put me in the chat. Everyone should be saying yes. 50 of those people are never going to be your clients. That's just math. 50 are not going to be your clients. Out of the rest of the 50, about 25 of those people, you're likely not going to like them. You're not going to want to work with them. You just don't feel like they're a good fit. Whether it's your energy, their energy, the way they show up, the way they communicate, there's just something, right? We have people in church, people at our workplaces that are just not a good fit. So out of the 25 people that are left, you have 15% that are now buyers. Somebody put now buyers in the chat. And you have 85% who are eventually going to become your clients. So let me ask you again. What is in your way? What is in your way of you making those sales this week. If your goal is, I'm going to say 100K, you can choose. You can choose if you want to do 40 or 50. I know Mona said 30 to 40. If you have a team that is doing calls all day long, is doing about 150 messages about every 3 hours on all platforms. If you have a team that is booking 10 to 20 to 30 triage calls every single day, Mona, that may be possible. Or if you have mastered Sell by Chat and you have an offer that is less than 10,000 and you learned how to close in the chats, that may be possible. But if you have not, there may be some gaps in your skills. I want people to put skills in the chat. I think sometimes Christians can holiatize. That's my word. Holiatize. We can holiatize and think that it's other things out there, or that God is waiting on, we're waiting on God to show up. When the truth is, often God is waiting on us. Action takers are money makers. And I want you all to commit, but I commit in the chat to massive action. I commit to massive action. We want to be hearers and we want to be doers. We want to be both hearers and doers all week long. So we're going to lean into some questions that you may have. So even as we are moving forward, I want you to remember this is a biblical worldview, that we believe that wealth is about stewardship, that selling can be honorable. And I want somebody to write in the chat, selling is actually holy. I believe that there is a bridge right here, right? And this is sales. I'm going to be using this as an example quite often, talking about a bridge from here to here. So if you want to get to 100K months, maybe you're above that, maybe it's higher, maybe your goal is doing $1 million in a day. I can show you how to do and reverse engineer whatever it is your desire. If you're right here, the difference between here and here being broke or, just enough, I call this mount just enough for me. This is where we have a needs. We just think about our own needs. I think I could do this. I think it'll be okay. But how many of you would love to fund something radical in the world? How many of you would love to leave this earth and somebody say, wow, like this person, Mona, Jana, Bob, Kim, Sandy, people that are in this room, Stefan, that person, I want Jesus to be like so excited about what we did. Anybody here want that? Anybody want it? Like, I want a high five when I go into heaven. I'm not going in like scraping by or climbing in or crying in. I want to high five Jesus as I walk in. I want people that I have helped to shape their world, their life, transform their families, to greet me at the door. I want it to be like a holy fire of excitement on what we have done while we're here. Because we get to do this. We get to do this. So we're coming from that mindset today. We get to choose our offers. We get to choose who we want to work with. And we get to think about, are there any skills that we may need to master? I'm going to talk about some definitions this week as well. So mastery, what is mastery, Coach Heaven? So mastery is the ability to execute effortlessly without the use of conscious resources. It's the ability to execute effortlessly without the use of conscious resources. So this would be a feedback loop towards mastery. And again, I may not be the perfect fit for you, but I believe everyone should have a mentor that has gone ahead and has done the thing that you really want to do. This is why it's real. I love that my husband kind of co-labors with me. Do you guys love that? Making 20x somebody's income and they have to leave their job. Isn't that a good problem to have? Put good problem to have in the chat. That we also don't live a crazy life. We live a very lovely, simple, devotional, giving life. We get to pour into other people. We have time to minister to our family. And that may be what you want. If it isn't what you want, that's okay. But I recommend you find a mentor that can bring you towards mastery. Because in sales mastery, you're able to fund and do every single thing that you want. So this week requires movement. We are going to examine real conversations. I want to test your assumptions. I want you to practice new skills. You're going to bring back results into this room daily. So I want to hear your wins. I want to hear your lessons. I want you to share with me, because I'm going to have some exciting things that you're going to be doing and completing all week long this week. So today we're going to lean into some questions that you may have. I'm just going to pray over us. Father, give everyone here ears to hear what is truly being communicated. Give us eyes to see what we have overlooked. Show us where fear has pretended to be wisdom in our businesses and in our lives. Show us where avoidance has pretended to be timing. Show us where activity has replaced mastery. Renew our minds, strengthen our courage, and teach us to steward the relationships and decisions and influence and wealth with integrity. In Jesus' name. So let's lean in. Let's lean in today. Who has their first question? I'm going to open up the room. Who has their first question? Can be anything to do with your business. Are you considering, what is it that you need right now? Are you needing more leads? Are you thinking that you need some help with your sales, with your offer? Let's just lean in. Who's going to be brave and come right on in? Who is ready? Just bring them in. Who's ready to go first? Hello. Good morning. How are you, lovely? What's your question?
I hope you're talking to me. This is Mona.
Yeah. No, I think
So, oh,
who do we have in the chat? We have Gila. Yeah, go ahead. Hi, lovely.
Fantastic. Hi, thank you so much. So I have been finding myself or aware of the behavior that I'm calling some double-mindedness, where I find myself pulling between short-term deliverables, some of which are more important than others, and taking the time to create the systems that will then help me scale, because it feels like there's constantly, more things coming in than I can get off the list. And I believe that systematizing and automating a bit more will help. But I also find that, there are current commitments to prospects and clients, and I'm struggling with that place. Yeah.
Absolutely. And this is an excellent question,
Thank you.
because when we're starting, our mind is right in the sense that do we need systems? Everyone put yes in the chat. Do we need to be clear on our price points? Do we need to know I have a system called the $1 Million Daily, because I've got a very linear, simplified way to be able to get to your first 6 figures, right? Like, we need some of those things in place. However, you're not at the stage of scaling yet. And often people think they're at scale, and you're not at scale, right? When you're running a business, you are focused on these activities. You have your attract, you have your convert, and you have your delivery, right? Everyone see that? Put yes in the chat. You're delivering on whether it's a one-on-one or you're in a group, or whether you are, whatever you have agreed, and to fulfill an integrity with your clients, you have a delivery system. Everyone put yes. Over here, you have a conversion system of some kind, whether this is a live event, whether you are group coaching, whatever that is, right? You have a way of conversion. It could be in a chat, it could be in a big event, it could be on sales calls. And then attract, your marketing side of things. So you're having these things happen. And truly, scale is not occurring until you are somewhere. If you're looking at around the 100K months, you're looking at between around 70 to 100K months, where you're looking at truly streamlining systems and scaling. Does everybody put yes in the chat? In my journey to my first million, I did it in 6 months, in 2022. And for myself, it was because there's a part of massive action that has to occur, and the dirty 30, so that there is just like a lot of activity that's happening. So you may be in that right now. You're just doing a ton of activity. You're seeing what sticks. So you need to simplify to multiply in the beginning. What is your main offer right now?
My main offer is I start with a paid discovery call, and then from there I offer, it's pretty bespoke based on the prospect or the client. This help with AI and bringing leadership to the AI that they're doing. It's for small businesses and leaders
Okay,
in the business.
too complicated. Too complicated. So guys,
Okay.
this becomes too complicated. And why you feel overexhausted, overtired, overbusy is because your clients come to you and you need to filter through how you deliver and what you already have set up. If every time somebody's coming to you, you're catering to them and tweaking and making everything to see if it fits, this is a definite, a definite downward spiral of not getting to 70 or 100K months. They are coming to you, and we're going to unlock that this week. I'm going to show you how to unlock in the currency of the client. That's what sales is. Some of you have had bad experience with salespeople, and I, on behalf of all salespeople in the world, which I never was a salesperson, so it's kind of funny I'm teaching sales. I'm an introvert. I was the president of my business school. I ran a law practice for a decade, so I have a law, calculus, business, chef background, and pastoral degree. So I never thought I would be anything to do with sales, but I realized that sales is actually asking questions so well and unlocking what is important to somebody else so well to see if it matches what you do so well. When it is equal, it's beautiful. It really is a beautiful exchange. So they're happy to exchange the money they have in their pocket for the solutions you provide. That is actually excellent sales right there. When you're constantly customizing, you are actually signing up to be burned out. So if I sent all of you an email right now and said, would you like to sign up today for my burnout program? Every one of you would say no to me, right? All of us, right? However, we sign up every day when we're thinking we want systems, but why would you start to set up a system of something you don't want to scale? You don't want to scale your current system because your current system isn't about figuring out. So part of the process is, and everyone write this down, you have a lead generation offer. And I would recommend that this would be a low offer, a free offer for you when you're connecting with your people. It can be a book, it could be something that's a video, something that's very valuable. Do not give them a bunch of junk. Make sure it's something that you would actually pay for yourself. Then you have a core product offer. You have your premium value offer and then a VIP. After that, if you desire and you grow a huge audience and you want to do a continuity offer or a subscription, go for it. If you would like to have a simple life and make lots of money, you want to stay in this zone here. So your first step, Gila, would be to, what is an offer that I can now connect with people and we can see if it's going to be the best fit. Does that make sense? Instead of every single time you are constantly, because this also causes, again, I know my time's up, but does anybody here enjoy decision fatigue? Does anyone like decision fatigue? Like, people make fun of me about my pizza Friday nights and my taco Tuesdays, but may I tell you something? I don't have decision fatigue around what's for dinner. I had the same house manager for 5 years. I had an SOP for all my kids, SOP for her. Every Friday by 4 o'clock, the house had to be perfectly clean. Dinner could then be on time at 5 o'clock. Anybody like those things? Anyone? Am I the only one who likes some of those things? So then you can have lots of fun. Instead of having all this randomness, hoping that something sticks, Gila, let's set up a system of offers. Get some massive action. The goal of your massive action is so that you can hire somebody who can then do all your daily operations, and then you can focus on scale in the next season.
Amazing. Thank you.
All right, love. Yeah, good to see you.
So helpful. Thank you.
Okay, Mona is next. Everyone get in the queue. Just put up your hand. My team will make sure you get in. Set a timer for 5 minutes. Good morning, Mona. Good to see you. What is your
Good
question?
morning. Thank you. So I am a trauma and addictions coach and counselor. I've not done well with marketing the coaching piece, so I'm going back to doing the therapy and counseling piece because insurance companies will send me clients and I don't have to market. But I want to transition well, kind of transition. I've started a new business called Brush Strokes and Breakthroughs, where I help people to
Okay, just start with your question though, because that'll help me the most, and I can ask you any other things
okay.
that I need help with. Okay.
So I need to know how to market my brushstrokes and breakthroughs expressive art business, and because I believe that that will lead to finding clients who need the counseling or
Okay.
coaching.
Let
Yeah.
me just ask you. Let me ask you a few questions. So,
Okay.
how many friends do you currently have on Facebook?
Friends. Um,
And audience size.
on
Everyone do this exercise the exact same time. You know, I'm not on 5,000 things. Really, you can. My thing for getting to your first million is you pick one. You pick one form of social media. So maybe that's LinkedIn for you. Everybody put it in the chat. So what is your audience across all platforms roughly? How many people?
probably about 1,200, mainly on Facebook.
Okay, 1,200 people. Out of 1,200 people, 600 are never going to be your clients. Out of the 600, 300 you're not going to like. And out of the rest, the 300, 15% are now buyers, 85% are going to eventually buy. Everyone put in the chat. Does Mona have a lead problem? Yes or no? What is the reason we do marketing? Everyone. I want everyone on camera. Guys, this is all in. If you book a session with me, it'll be $10,000 for 45 minutes. So everyone perk up, stay on track here. So Mona, do you have a leads problem?
Apparently not.
How many of these 300 have paid you?
Um, none.
Okay, this is a great problem, guys. Everybody say great problem to have. All of us, great problem to have. So now you have 300 people, 15%. So when you're looking at doing your marketing, so this is also something we've been brainwashed. I'm going to go into how to become a CIA agent when it comes to unlocking people and seeing what people need so well. I'm going to teach you guys this in a little bit. But you have people right now. So what is the reason why, to you, Mona, what is the reason why they have not bought yet?
One, I post inconsistently, and two,
Okay,
I probably haven't asked them to.
you haven't asked them. Everybody put in the chat because I haven't asked them yet. Now, I don't know about you, but you know, if somebody comes right up to me and says, "Hey, I've got a solution for you," or "Hey, you're the person I'm called to marry," I think they're creepy and I don't want to talk to them again. So that's why sales sometimes feels not so great. So, how many of the people out of the 300 have you started, or even all of them? Because we don't know, right? When we're a CIA operative, we don't know who is the person that we need to be following or on trail, right? We don't always know who the person is that's going to be our client. So you have to ask a series of questions. Out of the 1,200 people, what percentage have you walked through a discovery of asking questions so well that you can reveal what's important to them? How many of them have you done that with?
Probably about 20.
Okay. And you've really unlocked what it is that they need, right? Have you figured out their gap, where they're at and where they want to
Yes.
be? Okay. So about 20 of those people. And have you continued going to unlock and find out what it is that's in the way of them not being able to do the thing that they want to do?
Um, Either they can't afford it or they're not a good fit.
Okay. So everyone here, I want you to know that I can't afford it. It doesn't exist. I can't afford it does not exist. How many of you know of somebody who has spent $200,000 on a truck? How many of you know anyone who spent $25,000 on a granite countertop? And why did they buy those things? Because they want to. And when we want to do something, we figure out a way. People say, I can't afford it because they don't see enough value, Mona. Focus on what you can bring that they want. Don't focus on what you can give. Focus on what's the most valuable. Here is what you can do, right? Hold on. Come on, pen. You have the crossover. You have what you are good at. You have what they want. You have to get really clear on what that is, because then your marketing is not going to land in their ears. Do you guys want to know what good marketing is? Good marketing is when somebody reads your content or watches your video, they say, how did they get inside my head? How do they know about the conversation I'm having privately? How did they get that conversation and now write about it? Good marketing is being able to say out loud what people think in their heads. Mona, your homework for tomorrow, before tomorrow, I'm going to be giving you guys, I have this homework called 5 before 5. But in addition to 5 before 5, Mona, you are going to today, you're going to dial back and reach out to these people, and you're going to ask them a question. And you're going to say, I'm just curious. What is it that you need most right now? What do you need most right now? Let's find out what their currency is. Okay, who's next, team? Don't be afraid. Just hop right in, guys. I promise you that you will have breakthrough. You'll have breakthrough today and every single day this week. Sandy, let's come in. I want you to come in. I'm excited you're here. Hello.
Hi.
How are you, beautiful?
Hi, I'm training my puppy this morning. I have a Belgian too. I watched your thing with your husband, how you and your husband met and your love story. That was
Aw.
amazing. Thank you for putting that together. It blessed my heart so much this morning. This is my Belgian.
Oh, hello. You are so beautiful.
I'm
Yeah, my
training
dog.
her and she's under like intensive training right now. And
Well,
what this
that's
is in the middle
okay.
of our schedule. So I've been a little distracted with her, but thank you for inviting me. And so I have 2 clients right now that are $10,000 and all I
Okay.
have to do is invoice them and put it on the schedule. So I'm going to follow up with them this week. And
Now
I did all
these are closes that are about to happen. Is that right?
Yes, I did all my fact finding and it was just a scheduling. They're back to back for speaking engagements. And so we're trying to
Okay.
figure out travel. And one of them was going to move the event to the week ahead. And it's a university. So um these are my biggest clients. I've done $5,000 speaking engagements. And so this is my $10,000. I'm entering into that level. But I want to do $100,000. How can I do a $100,000 offer? I know
Yeah,
that I
amazing.
have a valuable service to offer and
Yep.
information that they can only get from me. And I want to be
Yep.
able to present it for 6 figures.
Exactly. So, just to clarify for everyone who's listening, Sandy would like to know, well, how do I craft or how do I curate or I would even say, how do I sell? It's, and we'll do this in 5 minutes. How do I sell? How do I craft? How do I curate a 100K offer? So right now you have a lead generation of some kind. You have connecting with people. You have your core product offer of some kind, which is it sounds like your 10K, your premium value offer. So do you have, this is all public speaking, correct?
Yeah, my entry offer is probably my book. I have a new book that they can get on Amazon for $30 or from me signed for 100.
Right. Okay. And is your book, and so everyone, I want you to pay attention to this. Does your book align with what you're going to be speaking about?
Absolutely.
Okay. And what is the payoff of somebody who hires you at a university? So this is a university level, or a school would be the client? Is that you'd be working with?
Law enforcement is my primary client. That's the biggest payoff.
Yep.
But if I'm going to do public awareness, and they have limited budgets, which I am painfully aware of. So they need help and they can't afford it. But universities have budgets to bring in speakers and they pay a lot of money to speakers. So that public awareness at that level, or also another client could be like a hospital, a nonprofit,
Absolutely. Absolutely.
a nonprofit, a school district.
Yeah, I don't think it's a problem at all. So what do you feel is in your way to close your 100K offer? So
I
you
don't even know
come-
what to present for 100,000. Like what, besides speaking, should I give them like a year of consulting once a month, or like how could I
Okay,
make it
these
to
are
where they
excellent
see it as
questions.
worth that investment?
These are excellent questions. Remember, that has to do with how well you present the payoff to them. What is the payoff that they want? So they're going to bring you in. What do they want as the payoff?
They want to be part of ending human trafficking.
Okay. So they want to be part of it. What does part of it look like to them? Not to you. What does
They
it look
want
like to them?
they want to be activated and not just hearing information, but taking action.
Okay. So what would that look like for them?
It's more about engagement than the speaking.
Okay, keep going. Just keep going.
So
Keep
that
going.
yeah,
So they
we're
want
going to
their
be
name
forming.
associated. They want their name
Mhm.
associated with something. They probably want it to be somewhat personal. If
Yeah.
you were to have a trifecta of you have the hospital and you have a university and you have the law enforcement in that area come together,
Whoa. Yeah.
and one of them sponsors it, I can help you craft the whole thing. Team, if you can make sure to send Sandy one of my trainings on how to craft your offer. I have 2,000 business trainings, so we're going to be able to
So
figure this one
sorry.
out. You're absolutely fine. So we have a trifecta of, so let's say it's the university that has the most funding, or they're going to get known for something. You've got to do this research to find out what did they want to be known for, the hospital, law enforcement, and the university. Like when we say end human trafficking, it's a little bit vague, right? But maybe there's a child or a family in that area that was devastated by this. What could you do to bring hope, restoration, to name something after that family that the university or the hospital would pay for and they would get credit of? Are you seeing this, Sandy?
Yeah, I'm seeing it.
It
And this is exactly what, yeah, I already have the whole framework built. And it's been
exactly.
sitting on a shelf because I haven't understood how to present it with any kind of a financial component where it's going to be a value to somebody to invest in it.
Right.
So
But
I've produced multiple podcast episodes called The Freedom Equation. That's what you're drawing.
right. And remember that when we are speaking with people, if they feel seen and heard and understood, and we speak in what I call the currency of the client,
Yes.
right? You've got to speak in the currency of what's important to them. So that's your homework before tomorrow. I want you to be able to figure out what is the most important currency of these three institutions. What would they see as being the most valuable, that if you put that together? And when we present, see, so many of us have been taught old ways of doing things, how to pitch and present to a company instead of how to unlock. If you have a meeting with 3 people, one from each one of these things who have decision-making power, and you ask questions in a Zoom room to do a 10-minute call to ask them, what would this look like? What would be the best outcome? What would you want to be known for in your hospital, university, and in the law enforcement? You have that meeting for 10 minutes. I will be able to show you how to close it. You may even be able to do a $500,000 close on this one.
Wow. Yeah, they have endowments that they have to spend a certain amount of every year. They're required to
Right.
spend that money every year. And I don't have to be a nonprofit to receive it. They can hire me as a contractor.
Absolutely.
I can write up a contract with their agency or their organization and bill them out through
But
the foundation.
never pitch. Everybody listen to this. Never pitch to a company that you haven't had a 10-minute call. This is part of my training. It works. Having a 10-minute call, you really can see what's important to the client, because where sales gets a bad rap is that we ask questions and then somebody tells somebody why it's best for them to join something. But if you sit down with them and you ask them, where would you all like to be a year from now? This is what the currency of the client is.
Mm.
They will say, we would love to end trafficking. Somebody might say at the hospital, we saw that little girl when she got brought in and she died. The other person said, we were there with the family at the funeral. We never want to see that happen ever again, right? Then they talk about the sadness that they went through as a community when they went through all these problems with this family. So you know where they're at and you know where they want to be. Now you have truly the ability to have a second meeting with them and communicate with them. Remember, communication and imagination are the highest levels of value. We're not looking for strategies and tactics. Strategies and tactics are the lowest levels of value. Does anybody here, we could just Google something. Anybody, right? We can go into AI. You can go into my Sales Boss Suite AI, which is, by the way, way better than ChatGPT. You can go in and you can ask questions about things and you can get answers. But if you don't have an ability to communicate at a high level and to imagine the solutions and to put a price on it, no amount of strategies and tactics are going to save you from your lack of communication skills and imagination skills, right? But you going in, Sandy, with your background, you being able to ask them the right questions and share what is most important to them. Money is not the obstacle. Everyone, I want you to understand. When someone says I can't afford it, it just means that you neglected to show enough value for them to pay for it. That's it. Or it's not a good fit. And honestly, if someone isn't a good fit, have integrity to say, I don't think that the problems you have are my best suit to help you solve. Let's be honest with people, right? Because I want you guys all to write down, there is no competition. There's no competition in the kingdom. We are all genetically accurate for our assignments. There's no small pie. There is more than enough. There's more than enough resources for everyone. It's the limiting beliefs and the lies and the fears that makes us think differently. But Sandy, everything that you have been through, the Lord is going to redeem every single thing you've been through, every drop. And just picture, if you learn the skills towards mastery of sales. When I talk about sales, I want everyone to hear me out. I am not talking about somebody convincing you of things you don't want. I'm talking about communication skills. That's all I'm really talking about. Communication and imagination. You imagine solutions and you can say it well. You can hire people to do all the tactics and all the strategies all day long. You can hire the housekeeper. You can hire an admin assistant. You can have somebody who can send all your invoices for you, Sandy. You can have someone who can help train your dog. You have someone clean your car and lead and do delivery of your programs in the ways that you're not necessary. And free up all the time so that you can take this mandate globally.
Mm-hmm.
But if you're caught up in all the low levels all the time, if you're down here, right? This is my female founder replacement ladder. This is housekeeping. This is admin. This is marketing. This is delivery. These are all the aspects of your business. Sales, and then you have leadership. You don't want to outsource these because they're the highest level of skills. Mm-hmm. Again, if sales is a trigger for anyone here, it just means you haven't had your mind renewed about sales being awesome. So just turn the word sales into communication. But high level of communication, you don't want to outsource. If you're closing $500,000 deals with a trifecta of a university hospital in law enforcement in 10 different cities in the States, that's a $5 million plan.
Yeah.
And with that end, some of the problems in trafficking.
It would certainly shift it. It would certainly shift. That's a big enough solution that I've wasted a lot of time working with nonprofits who say they want to be like part of ending human trafficking. So they'll ask me to come speak at their fundraiser, but they'll want to charge me for a table or they'll charge me for wine for my guests or give me a gift card to Starbucks or have like a $2,000 for them. $2,000 is a lot to spend on a speaker. And I say, but you're telling the world that you help human trafficking survivors to live a successful life. You're telling the world that that's what your ministry is here. But did you ask the sound guy for a discount? Did you ask the caterer for a discount? You're asking me for a discount on my fee.
Exactly.
And so you can raise money to say you're doing something, and where's your measurable results? There's not even an impact being made.
Exactly.
It's just so that they can exist and say that they're doing something. And then people donate and they just keep going. But this is a real solution that I've spent so much time thinking about the little things and how annoying it can be and how difficult it's been, instead of elevating the conversation with myself in the 5 minutes that you have spent with me and helped me to unlock true solutions. Taking the thoughts that I've had, how did you climb into my brain? The thoughts that I've had, the frameworks I've already built, and I've tried to understand how can I present this with a financial component so that it can, so people are so invested that they're actually going to do the action. They're not just going to hear the
Amen.
information and have the awareness raised. They're going to take action. And
Yeah.
that changes entire communities. That changes entire nations.
Exactly. And I love this. People who pay attention. Everyone put that in the chat. People who pay attention. So you and I can sit down and have a conversation, because we could marry this beautifully with your speaking fee, and then the people that are in that trifecta to be able to have access to your group, where you have very specific around law enforcement, working with detectives, working with FBI. I can help you map this all out. But have a 1 year container for about, like, within your region. This is a map for a step-by-step of how we're going to unlock and disarm and end trafficking. That would be paired with it. Because once they pay, you're happy to help them to be able to figure it out in their city, aren't you?
Yeah,
Let's go after it.
that's amazing.
Okay, sounds awesome. Thanks for asking.
Thank you.
All right. Yeah. Guys, put in the chat. Wasn't that fire? It's so good to hear great things that people are wanting to do. All right, Stefan, do you have a question for me? You can ask anything. Remember, guys, it doesn't have to be high level, and it can be eye view, right? It can be something that's really specific in your business right now. Maybe there's somebody that you're needing help like close a sale, and it could be as big as what Sandy was sharing about ending human trafficking, and as a police background, like how do I work with that?
Yeah, well, there's always a bunch of good questions. So far, so good. Fire. Evan, thank you so much. Thank you for the invite. I gotta say that. So my biggest deal is not, I think it's potentially the price point, because some people I've worked with, they're willing to pay like crazy. I mean,
Right.
that $40,000 contract for a week's worth of work, which has been great. But then most of the people that I actually meet, they want to pay 10% of that. They want to give me a tithe of a regular contract, if I could say so. So it's like, yeah, I'm not God, guys. You should be tithing to me. You should be paying the full thing to me. Not trying to be funny or anything, but it's like, it seems like I haven't figured out the way to get the right people in front of me. Yeah.
And that's okay. That's all right. I think sometimes, and if we're honest with ourselves, sometimes we haven't had that line in the sand moment ourselves, where, because we've also been taught as Christians to, and not everybody's a Christian on the call, but if you have some kind of faith of any kind, really, you've been taught to a degree to, like, be kind and be thoughtful to other people and be thinking about what's best for everybody. And I feel that we do a disservice to our clients and our family when we live like that. And that the clearer we can get. So what would be your definition of ideal? Some people love to go do like a live, I help people do like a live event, collect a ton of cash on the stage, and then fulfill for the year and then do it again. Some people want a couple times a week a group. Some people want to go into a corporation being with people for the whole week. What would be your ideal before we talk about the payoff for it? What would be your ideal, Stefan?
Well, I love people. So that's one thing. I'd love to meet people live as much as possible, knowing also that it's easier to do some stuff online, like Zoom
Right.
and stuff like that, just because I don't need to travel to Portland or New York. I can stay in my home in Charlotte and be comfortable here and
Yeah.
go out to the pool with my wife after. So if I would be traveling once a month, doing a speaking commitment, because I do speak as well, which is always good. I haven't figured out the way to monetize that presentation into clients after. I haven't figured that one out yet. I
Okay.
just haven't got that one. So ideal is traveling once a month, working 2 days a week. That would be
Okay.
time-wise, that would be it. That would be
I
it.
love this. Does anybody else see how that's like I would say, the complexity fails, simplicity scales. When we're getting up to the $70,000, $80,000 a month, and it could be 50, it just depends on your business and those things. But when you are starting to get up to that level, you're not going to be able to choose everything to be able to scale. And actually, the Bible says the good is a detriment of the best. So we want to be really clear on what that one thing is. This is a beautiful model. If we have an event that you are going to speak at and you're paid $40,000 for, if you have a course that is group, that is 1 year. So they're doing one time a week you would teach, one time you would be able to answer questions. You could also add, like I have tech support at any time for my people. So then that's not more of my time. And then I have other support pieces that are not my time, right? But that I'm just talking about your time right now, Stefan. But right, you could have other things that are helpful to your people, right? That are
Of course.
beautiful things, right? And then you like to get together with people live. So
Yeah,
I do live events. And for me, because I actually prefer to have more meaningful conversations with a smaller amount of people. And everyone here, you can choose what you want. If I was a Dynamo Entrepreneur in 2019. I won 19 weeks in a row at Toastmasters. I've spoken on big stages. For me, I like to see people actually get results. So I'm not as interested in just talking or people hearing my voice. I want to, and I think you're a bit like that. You want to make sure people get results. And then you could have the people that are in your group, you could have them meet you once a year, twice a year, 3 times a year, whatever that would look like. Maybe have a +1 that is at no charge. And they would come to that. So now you're bringing in this at $40,000 for a year, would include their ticket, not their expenses to travel or anything else, but just to be able to come and join you. And then you would have an event where you go to speak, and then this would actually bring in new people. How do you like this?
My smile should say a lot. Yeah, of course. But here's the thing. Okay, so let me add to this. I said but. It's not but. I don't think it's a but. I don't want to put a but in the chair. And still
That's okay.
and still keep it family friendly and Christian oriented. If I could point to your screen right now, I would. I don't think I can, but it's that 40K on a regular basis. I haven't figured out who are those people that are willing to pay this. I do believe the solutions I bring to them in leadership and communication and removing that friction for their company. I think I do it better for other people than for myself. I think that's
Right.
that would be an honest opinion right now.
Well, think of contractors, right? That have all these great things that are going on, and their wife is crying day and night because their kitchen isn't finished, right?
Yeah.
So that's normal. Everybody, give yourself grace. Are you willing to suspend disbelief and know that I can map that out for you, who the people are, and the outline for the year?
I left my country. I was born in Canada, raised in Montreal, moved to the States 10 years ago, believing God called us here for different reasons, for ministry and anything else. And so taking bold steps is okay. It's okay.
Okay.
Nothing wrong with.
Right? Because this is not a model for burnout.
No.
If you have a total of, right? So like 10, 20, 30, let's say 30 clients, right? It's not bad. You know, you
That's
do
good.
1.2 million over the next year. You
That's a
could
good year.
do, I would pair up your events with where your location of your live event to meet your clients. And so you could do a big room, have the extra cash come in. So that's 3 times a year for that. Now you could charge more, you could have it more than that, right? Or we can do any kind of connection of that. But then you're looking at 120,000 just for that to add on to this amount. And fulfillment isn't difficult because you have 30 people. Now you could possibly do, I've served different time zones. So sometimes I've had a Australia time zone. You can have a,
Yeah.
you know, the one that's for Mountain, Eastern, and Central, something like that. And you could have 2 time zones of 15 people each, Tuesdays and Thursdays. And there's your 2-day-a-week system. How's that feel?
Well, feels good. It feels good. I just haven't found them yet. That's
So
really it. I just haven't found them yet.
would you be able
And
to believe that they might already be in your inbox? I want everyone to write that down right now. My clients are already in my inbox, just that no one has showed you how to unlock people so well. That's all that it is. If you can just suspend disbelief on thinking, oh, it's leads or it's the right people, I'm going to be showing you over the next few days how to communicate so well that the people actually come to the top. And you know, my clients have paid me over 100,000, over 200,000, and above that. They're much easier to do the sale with than when you're working with somebody who's $1,000 or $50 or $4,000 or even 40,000. 40,000 is a good price point though for you here. But hold that possibility. Stefan is thinking, wait a second, what if they're there and I just need to learn sales mastery and that's it?
yeah, I, I don't
It's
have an
not a
issue
ton of
believing
people,
that.
right? Not a ton of people, and it doesn't overwhelm us. Well, thank you for trusting me with unlocking that publicly, Stefan. I really appreciate that. And
Thank
guys,
you.
we're getting close to the time where I'm going to be doing a training. So we're going to take a 5-minute refresher break. Grab yourself a cup of coffee or a snack, depending on what time zone you're in or what you need. It's going to be a little bit different because often when I've done challenges or intensives, I will just speak for the whole time. But if you can stay on camera, I'm going to be inviting people in to do a similar love seat style. For those of you who are not familiar with my love seat style, the Bible says that we expose things for the purpose of healing. And so I don't think we expose people to make them feel heated or uncomfortable. We expose for breakthrough. So that's why I call it a love seat instead of a hot seat. So if you have a question as we're going along, or if there's something that's in you to say, like, I don't believe this, but I want to have breakthrough today, I'm going to be working with you. So take the next 5 minutes, team, if you want to do a break, and then we will see you guys in 5 minutes and back on with cameras and ready to go. Okay, see you in a second. Well, welcome everyone to Clients All Summer. Clients All Summer. I am excited because I think that it's actually those who have such a heart to fulfill the call that God has on their lives, and those who desire simplicity and desire to be able to do things slightly differently. Originally, my quiet selling method was called the introvert sales system because people, when they meet me, they don't realize that I'm an introvert because I'm a good communicator and because I can speak to thousands of people and I'm very comfortable. But I'm an introvert, and you may also be that personality where you really do genuinely care about serving other people well. You like to listen to what's important to other people. And I think that there is a ton of fruit that is in your inbox right now that you may not even realize. But if you don't have the skill to do something, we can miss out. And so I call this decision intelligence. So there's a 100K decision gap. And truthfully, I would have called it the $1 million. But sometimes when you tell people that there's $1 million in their inbox, it can sound a little bit like salesy or weird, or the term is actually supraliminal. It kind of goes over our heads. We're like, we don't really register it. But most of you could believe for your next 100K, right? And more leads cannot repair missing sales mastery. So I'm hoping that you will ask me questions and you'll start to see, wait a second, maybe this really is a skill. Maybe it isn't just if I have more leads. I remember a year ago at an event, and I was having a private dinner with Brendan Kane. For those of you who know who he is, he wrote 1 million followers. And I was just really curious because I've believed in get rich, not famous, have a small audience and a good offer, and do good work. That's kind of sounds simple, but that's been my mindset because I know, and I've worked and I've had bigger companies, that once you start to do things on a really big scale, you need a lot of people to help things keep moving. But you can build $1 million company without stress, without burnout, without having to hire tons of people that you've got to manage every day. You know, I have some really key people in my company that are amazing, and I'm so thankful for them. But the word is key. That you can have a couple of people to be able to help you do the back end and the front end, to be able to make sure that everything is running. If you're a grandparent, you want to be able to go to the park with your kids, or you're married with kids or with your grandkids, if you want to spend time with your own family or your spouse, if you're single, or help out at the church. This is a way to free up time. So if you want absolute chaos and not a direct path and 20 million offers and want to be burnt out, I'm definitely not your person. So what I'm going to share today is I actually think that sales are holy. And I say that because sales are the bridge between not having enough and having, exactly what God wants us to. And each one of us have different talents. Some of us have 1 talent people. Some of you are 10 talent people. And God has called you to much. And he's going to require a lot from you. And being able to create that kind of income, you then have an ability to tithe and to give offerings and, to be working from overflow. I have some really audacious dreams. I'm a big giver. And I like to be a radical giver. I like to tip when I get to a restaurant, not afterwards. I like to tip people everywhere I go before I do anything. I like people to know that they're seen, that they're heard, and that they're important. I love this scripture. He that withholdeth corn, the people shall curse him, but a blessing shall be on the head of him that selleth it. Doesn't that blow you away? There's actually scriptures about sales. There's a blessing when we sell. And I want to show you how it can be done quite differently than what you have been probably taught to. So sales are something you do for people. It's not something you do to people. here are some definitions we're going to whip through before we get into the training, because I find that content, right? Content without context brings confusion. So I'm going to share some definitions so you understand where I stand from. So selling is helping someone honestly evaluate and, when appropriate, make a decision they already desire to make for their own reasons. Sales is the process of uncovering, communicating, and confirming value so clearly that the right person can make a clean decision about exchanging money for a meaningful result. And an offer, when I talk about an offer, I'm saying an opportunity for the right person to receive a specific transformation at a predetermined investment. A clean decision is an honest yes, no, or not now, reached through clarity rather than through confusion, pressure, avoidance, or abandonment. A confused mind never buys. A confused mind never buys. So we're going to be talking a little bit about decision intelligence. So this is an ability to recognize what is confirmed, what has been interpreted, what information is missing, what the person values, what they currently believe, and what may be preventing movement, what the next objective should be. So there's a little bit of a difference between 10K months and 100K months. And again, I've shared this in other trainings, but the fastest way to $1 million is one client who pays you $1 million. And if your brain goes into cognitive overload or it's superliminal for you, that's okay. I want you to think about what you've already sold. When you think of what you've already sold, it helps you to be able to look at, okay, let's just push the ceiling a little bit on that. Because people who desire high-level results, they actually don't want more stuff. They don't want more meetings. They don't want, like, I've had clients who have paid me hundreds of thousands of dollars. I've helped them in their companies. I can get on a call with them, and I answer something in 5 minutes. They're like, we're good. See you next time. They don't ask to try to make up the 55 minutes somewhere else. They don't try to get a refund on anything. They are so freaking excited that I was able to collapse timeframes and bring a solution faster to them. So at 10K months, we don't really need to have a system or a structure or a core product offer, or we don't have to have a lot of things in place. We can kind of hustle and grind and make it happen. But 100K months and beyond, we need to be able to have an infrastructure. But you need to have the finances to be able to pay your team to be able to do the things that they want. So I want you to think about if you're at if you've done a $3,500 offer or you've done a $40,000 and you really like the people, you just think, I would like to multiply that. Let's get really clear today. Everyone put in the chat. Yeah, my apologies. I forgot to say there is a workbook, and I don't want anyone to go into overwhelm. Okay. I just like to be really thorough, and I love to give a lot of value. So that's all that I want you to see, that I really care, that I want you to think, if I can spend this much time with her for free, what would it be like for a year working with her? Because I want you to have the outcome you desire, and I'm 100% committed to be able to help you get at that if we're the right fit. Same with the people that are in your world, right? Let people go that you just don't feel like there's a good fit. If somebody's really demanding and hyper and critical and you don't want to be in that environment, just say goodbye to them now in your audience. And those that are the kind of people that you really like being with and you can solve a problem for, let's connect with more of those. Okay? So anything that I share, let's do that. Your next 100K may not require another 1,000 followers. In fact, when I was meeting with Brendan Kane, it was a beautiful dinner, and I was with some other clients of Myron's, and many of the people that were there shared a similar problem, that if you can do more content and you're posting more and you have all that and you have 6,000, this was Brendan Kane's number, 6,000 more leads come in every month, but you do not have a system to be able to pre-qualify these people, to see if they're the right fit, to nurture them, and a team to be able to unlock their currency so well that they see so much value that they want to buy, do we need to keep posting more content, yes or no? If we're doing marketing for the purpose of bringing in new people, but we don't have a sales system that feels awesome, that people have bought from at a high level, then maybe we think that we have that problem because it's easier in our minds to solve. But I want to encourage you, because what I believe I train, and it's more because of the different backgrounds I've had. If I wasn't doing what I was doing now, I would probably work for the CIA. So I call us and the people that I train Kingdom CIA agents. It stands for Curiosity, Intelligence, and Authority. When I say curiosity, is we just don't assume, right, that the first answer is complete. If the person that you're talking with shares something about their business or a problem they have, it's not always what's really going on. Can I get a witness, you guys in the chat? Often there's other things that are going on that through excellent questioning in a kind fashion, you know, we're not there to be like asking 5,000 questions and drilling them and keeping them hot and sweaty in a tiny room, right? The idea is to unlock with curiosity what's going on for them. That we use intelligence, we separate fact from interpretation, and that we speak in authority with like being lovingly, to be able to move things towards truth so that they can really see. Everyone write this down. The current solution that your prospect has to solving their problem is to do nothing. That's their current solution. So anytime you're having a conversation with them, they may tell you things, but that's their current solution. Because up until they met you, they didn't really have somebody who was listening, asking questions. Most people come at people, right? Again, sales are something you do for someone, not to someone. But if they've talked to other companies to get some help or talked to other coaches to get help, they may have been pitched at and they shut down. So we don't want to be like that. We want to be like CIA agents. We want to move them towards truth. There is a scripture, I don't know if I have it on my slide deck here. I don't think I do, but it's honestly, this scripture just blew me away. And it says, counsel in the heart of man is like deep water, but a man of understanding will draw it out. Proverbs 25. So this process, the people you're speaking to, they're this deep waters, the heart of man, deep waters. And your ability to be an understanding person, you will draw out what's really going on for someone. It's so well that they actually can't resist working with you. Like, let's be really truthful. If somebody really can help you get to where they say that they're going to be able to get you, if they have proof that they've done it before and the evidence, if they connect with you well and you like talking to them and they're gracious and kind and whatever's important to you, you will figure out the finances, yes or no. Like, most of us have probably bought something that we shouldn't have bought. Like, we thought, okay, and we just got so excited and we wanted it and we made it happen. So we all know that people will figure things out. The good news is everyone in this room is full of integrity. All of you want to do what's best for other people. And so when you know the skills to unlock someone, now you're going to come into a whole different level of wealth, a different level of being paid so much better. Right? The truth inside a person may be sitting in deep water. If a prospect says, I need more leads, many people who are inexperienced, remember we talked about in the VIP that there is tactics, the lowest level, strategy. Then we have the higher levels where we're going into high level of communication with this is the essence of God or a holistic person. and the highest levels of imagination. So we have this combination of we ask questions of people and there's surface things that are happening. So you may ask here, you ask a question, what do you think you need? Right? So think about in your company, Steph and everyone who's listening, Sandy, what do they think they need? Write that down for yourself. They may say on a surface level, right? Like I'm saying they need leads. They might say, oh, I need more leads. Most people that I talk to think they need better leads. And again, I'm not saying you don't, right? I haven't done a diagnosis. I haven't done an audit with your business. But the inexperienced response is, well, here are 12 ways to generate more leads. Instead of a CIA operative, a kingdom operative is going to ask more questions, right? Curious, how many people are currently in your world? And you saw me do this with a couple of people in the VIP room. Curious, how many followers do you currently have? If someone has 5,000 or 1,200 prospects that have never bought from them, their next step isn't to do Facebook ads. Their next step isn't to grow their audience, because all you're going to do is add more people to a lack of system. Can everyone see that? Put yes in the chat. You're just adding more people to a lack of system. Like Brendan Kane when he said, well, Heaven, I have 6,000 people every month. What do I do? Because I can't even get to them. I'm teaching everybody that you're going to have 1 million followers. But if you have 1 million followers and no one converts into cash flow, was it worth doing all that content? Yes or no? Because even if you have a pure vision of just funding a ministry, you won't be able to fund that ministry. It will close its doors. Okay? So the right response is, how many do you already have in your world? How many? So, and that's the first question. The second level of a question would be, how many of them have you had a meaningful conversation with? Number 3, how many warm people have you already connected with that they're waiting for some type of conversation with you? How many conversations stop because you didn't know what to say next? Put me in the chat. Right? You just don't know what to say. What do I say next? And people buy emotionally and they back it up logically. Now, I'm not saying, because I am definitely not, I'm very, my IQ is very close to Albert Einstein's. I'm an introvert. I'm, well educated. I'm very, I think very clearly. I could probably go closer to being logical. But I know that I get a gut check with people. Does everybody know what I'm saying? I can get an idea if this person's going to be fun to hang around, right? I do events in Cozumel, and part of the Kingdom Sales Academy I have as people can come, or in my VIP at my higher levels, they can come and hang out with us. Well, none of you want to have people coming to your events that you don't even want to see on a weekly basis in your group coaching, right? You want people that are kind of funny or fun or tell funny stories. Or what I like is people who have a generous spirit or who err on the side of grace. Has anybody ever done an event or spoke somewhere and one person emails you every single day wondering where that pen was or that swag bag that they thought they were going to get? Those aren't my people. Okay? Bible says the generous prosper and are satisfied. Those who refresh others are they themselves refreshed. Doesn't mean that you're giving bags of money away, right? You can be generous with your words, can't you? Right? We were at our cell group Saturday night for a barbecue for our Bible study for the people we connect with at church. And one of the ladies, I could just really feel she needed some encouragement. And so I just, without saying I'm giving you a prophetic word, I just shared with her some things. And she was really moved to tears, and it made such an impact. There are simple things we can do, right? If you go into an Uber, you can ask questions of the driver. So I want you to think about your day-to-day life and your ability to unlock other humans around you. Rate yourself right now. Are you excellent at asking questions of people everywhere you go? Or would you say you need some work on that? It's okay. Let's be honest. And let's think about that now in our business. That if we only see up here, right? Up here is also a little bit easier. Most people like to have surface level conversations. People like to talk about the weather. They like to talk about the fires that are going on in northern Canada. They like to talk about things that are not the real conversation. The real conversation requires more effort. It requires more presence. It requires more skill. This is the level where you get to 100K months, is at this level. Because by asking questions, what happens? If I ask you a question right now about yourself, who's answering? Am I telling you? No, you are answering. And write this down. The highest form of persuasion is self-persuasion. The highest form of persuasion is self-persuasion. And we want our prospects to walk themselves over the sales line. I'll tell you why this is brilliant. Because if your client makes a decision to walk themselves over the sales line, so here we have persuasion and we have persuasion. When you're getting to know somebody and you're asking questions and unlocking what's important to them, you're asking a whole bunch of questions to see what they deem as important. So for example, if I was asking somebody about a home, and I think I've got this way up here. I'm getting ahead of myself, guys, but it really bothers me when people just try to tell you instead of sell. Selling is excellent when you know what's important to somebody. Okay, I'm going to give an example. Bad selling is when you tell somebody, oh, I'm looking for a house, and they just jump to persuasion. Well, have I got the house for you? And they just start telling you all the things about the house and how great it is. And you soon realize they only have 5 listings and they're telling you about one of their listings. Who are they interested? Whose need are they interested in meeting? Theirs or yours? Okay? That's why sales get a bad rap. But selling is actually holy. Sales are holy. You want to sell somebody. You don't want to tell them. When we step aside and make it somebody else can just make the decision, we're not actually being respectful. It can feel like, oh, I'm just letting you make your decision. But, if it was extreme, I can think about Sandy sharing about, women being trafficked. Or if you have something that's like to reduce the amount of like heroin that's being brought into a country, would you guys agree that these are serious? But if you remember that the current solution of your prospect is for them to do nothing, well, they may have a company, they may have leadership issues that are serious, and this company could go under in the next year. They may have all kinds of problems that if they trust the right person, they're going to share with. And if you have the right skills to ask them the right questions, this is the question asking part. When you persuade, you find out all the things, you ask the questions, then you know what's important to them and you can talk in their currency. So for example, we'll go back to the real estate agent. A real estate agent who is excellent would say, what is like when you picture your dream home, what does that look like for you? When you think about whether you want to be in the country or do you want to be in the city, is it something is there any mobility issues? Like, would you want to have, and again, I've never sold real estate, but would you want, all one floor, or do you want multiple levels? Would there be multiple generations living in this home? Are you somebody who has big parties, or do you have a big Bible study that comes over? Is a lot of light in your house important to you? Right, so now you've asked all these questions. Now you can do the thinking. Now everyone here, think about your offer. You may do $40,000 group coaching. You may have events that you run. You may have small things that you do oceanside. You may have a lower ticket offer. Okay, so you have a couple things. I do not recommend that you sell and focus on all kinds of things. You focus on one main one, but you listen intently to what people need and you sell them what is only best for them. When you sell, you can persuade them. You can say, you can now go into a little bit more. You have mentioned to me that you would like 5 bedrooms. You would like it to be on a court. You want it to be able to facing a green space. You want it only to be about 8-minute drive from work. And you've listened to every detail, and then you say, there's this home here, and it actually has 9 out of the 10 things. Would you be open to hearing more about it? How is that person feeling versus over here when you're just told about something and somebody is trying to make you want it? We have buying resistance. Buying resistance goes up right away. I want to tell you what the best part of persuasion being done properly. When you do it properly, when you have somebody come into your world and say, over here, they're going to become a client. They're going to pay and they're going to onboard. This person who has had a glorious experience in the sales process, you have made sure that you know their problem and their solution. They are you aware, and it's a now thing for them. And all the things that they really need, you really can solve. And you've taken the time to ask them and for them to say that that's what they need. One of the most beautiful things is then you have somebody pay $40,000 and they stay in your program. I have no churn. What is churn, Coach Heaven? Churn is you have people come in and then they have buyer's remorse or a couple weeks or 3 weeks or a month and they're like, I don't want to be in this anymore. Now, there is no condemnation if you haven't experiencing this. I'm just explaining to you that I've created a sales process that aligns so well with how to communicate to other people and to unlock what's important to them that when they say yes and pay, they stay. And they don't just stay, they get the results because you have been so accurate in being able to make sure that you can help them with the problem that they have. Does everybody see this? It's a completely different way of doing it. Okay, so we're going to dial into the workbook. So crack open your workbook. We're going to do some things in real time. I like to step into taking massive action as much as possible. And I want you to think about, creating decision safety for your person. Right? We've been taught about this know, like, and trust, and you got to make sure they know you and like you. And what does this even mean? Because I see that people come in, they do fake know, like, and trust, and then people buy and then they churn and they're not there. And so I don't know about you, but I would rather have $1 million model where you have fewer people that you do excellent work with, that you're going to be able to follow through and fulfill on everything. Is everyone with me here? And that those people will stay on with you and they'll continue to buy year after year from you because they truly trust you. Again, if you want to have, 40, 50 employees, you're looking to do $1 billion today. And, again, it depends what your model is. Now, I do have $1 billion plan for myself, but it is not in this model. It's in my AI system so you can have other models of things, but if you haven't mastered selling your first million, everyone here, do that before you create your ministry. Create a business tree that can really fund your ministry and have a system that is sustainable. Write these words down. Sustainable, transferable, and scalable. Right? We don't want to set up something that later we go, man, I hate this thing. I don't want anything added to it. We want to make sure that it's something that you really feel great about and that you can do for the long term, the long game. Okay, your workbooks, you guys got them open. I want you to think about 5 people that are warm and already inside your world. Now, it doesn't mean that they necessarily know, everything about what you do. I actually don't believe in doing that. Now, I want to share why. If you go to a party and somebody comes right up to you and they just start talking about yourself, what are you thinking in your mind? You're like looking for some exit point. Are you guys with me? You're looking for some way you can go, like, where's my wife? Where's my husband? Where's my best friend? Where's the person I came with? When somebody just comes up and they don't ask you anything about you. So I want you to think about, we're going to lean into the questions you can ask some warm people right now. So I want you to write down those names. So everybody grab that right now. Write down 5 names. That's 5 is doable, right? 5 is doable. Everyone say 5 is doable. Take a look at the 5 people. And I want you to think about, what do they actually say that they need? What have they said that they need? And are they speaking up here, or are they being honest? And am I in the real conversation? Somebody put the real conversation in the chat. Because if you're not in the real conversation with somebody, it can be a number of reasons. They don't really trust you yet. Right? They're not going to. I always am amazed when people post things and they ask like really, really deep. I am a deep writer, but I'm meaning they're expecting to be able to make a withdrawal on an emotional bank account that they don't really have. Does everybody understand what I mean? You want your people to feel safe. You want them to be able to know that you're going to go deep with them. And you as a business owner also have to know when to call it quits. If you're asking questions of somebody and they're not willing to have the real conversation and you've gone about this, now, don't stress out in any way. I have all the training on step-by-step exactly how to do this if you decide you want to work with me, okay? So don't let any part of this in any way make you feel overwhelmed, because I have worked out everything perfectly and eloquently. And anyone who knows that and has worked with me or knows anything, just put yes in the chat to come alongside, right? You want to look at, like, what do I still need to understand? What does the desired result truly mean to them? So go in your chats right now, or go into your LinkedIn, or go into your email. You all know of somebody. Because a sale is not one call. This is the mindset I want you to make a shift today in. Sale is a decision journey. A sale is a decision journey. You're unlocking in them more and more. The more that they say, like, bingers are buyers, right? I would prefer somebody asks me questions and just watches random tons of content. I want them to ask me questions so I can save them time, so I can know what to direct them to. What is going on for them? Okay, so a timer for about 90 seconds, team. I want you to take a look at your 5 people, because what I want you to see within yourself is, what have I been assuming that's actually not a fact? What am I assuming? So Stefan, you mentioned, that I know some people, but I don't think they would pay. Maybe for somebody else's thinking, okay, I've done this at 10K speaking, but I don't think somebody would pay 40, 50, 100, 500,000. Right? So I want you to expose the lie you believe. You guys ready? So you're going to look for one assumption that's not actually a confirmed fact. Okay, ready, set, go through those 5 people, go. Keep going, guys. You're doing great. Okay, so we're going to wrap it up because I want to be able to offer some help. So, for example, and I have in here just some of the ideas in the notes. And again, if you don't speak a certain way, make sure you speak honestly how you speak. Like for myself, I actually speak in complete sentences. I don't know why. Maybe it's because I have teenagers. I cannot stand like no capital I on the beginning of a sentence. And, just like all these short forms. My teens message me short forms sometimes, and I have to like look it up. Can I get a witness? Anybody else? I'm like, what does that mean? Could we just, you're in the other room. Just come downstairs and talk to me, right? Okay. But say a warm prospect, right? They may have said something like, so here it says, oh, sorry, yeah, I can see it. Okay. Hey, Sarah, you crossed my mind today because last time we spoke, you said you wanted more consistent revenue without spending your entire life online. I realized I never asked what consistent revenue would actually change for you personally. So that is a portion of a question to ask. Another one can be, I'm just curious, Sarah. When we were chatting last, you said that, that around consistent income. What would consistent income look like for you? So sometimes we just take things face value, but when we take things face value, we're not really have something to work with, do we? What does consistent revenue mean? It's something completely different for every company. What does that look like for you, right? Someone who says not now. Hey, Michelle, I was thinking about our last conversation. You said the support felt aligned, but the timing didn't feel right. I realized I never asked what specifically needed to change for the timing to feel right. Okay? So instead of taking things at face value, that we can lean to what I call the real conversation, right? You're a CIA agent. You're looking for what's really going on. Does anybody else like detective shows? Anybody else love stuff to do with like FBI? And come on, there's got to be more than just me in the room. But I love tells. I love learning about a tell, right? So if somebody's in a room, interrogation room, and they're not telling the truth, they will rub their leg and it will shake, right? Does anybody know some of these tells, right? It's good to know some of it, to be able to see. And those of us who have had, again, you have a teenager, they come home late at night, we can just watch and see what they say for things. No, my kids are really good. I think I've mentioned to you guys that our youngest daughter, Bella, who is, 14, got a full-time job in children's ministry up north at a Christian camp. We were pretty excited. We thought she was going to be like serving ice cream. We didn't really care what she was going to be doing other than get out of bed. Does anybody else want that program? Just get them out of bed and get them doing something, right? Lest I digress. Does anyone have an obstacle? Tavia, do you have somebody in your world right now who like you're just going through your list and you're like, what is actually the real conversation and where do I go from here?
I do actually.
Okay, share away.
Okay, so I have a person that came to a master class
Okay.
and she she mentioned that what did she say? She said that she wasn't ready to sign up for coaching yet because basically she was saying that she was waiting on God. And so I sent her a message about, understanding the benefit of mentorship and things like that. And then she said that she does believe in mentors, but she's already been told a mentor for land development was going to share their knowledge with her because she wants to like open like a senior home and like youth homes. And so she said that I would meet with you because of your gifting, but ultimately I have to be patient because God has already told me what my land development coach would look like. And so I guess maybe she's, um, yeah, I guess even though the work that I do will literally help her draw in any type of resources that she desires. However,
So what do you think is really the real conversation? So everyone here, look at your own people while we go through this to Tavia and I together. What do you think is really going on for her right now? Is she planning to hire this land resource coach? Does she have the name of the person? She got that all figured out. Okay. So you guys can all just you can also put in the chat. So I want everyone to know that when people say that they're waiting on God or that it's, a God thing, that isn't an obstacle and isn't really true. I know that's really hard to even imagine. And 5 years ago, me would not have said the same thing I'm saying right now. Remember what I said about the current solution for your prospect to solve their problem is to do what? Nothing.
nothing.
So if you add a Christian spin on doing nothing, you just say you're waiting on God. Right? You just holiatize it. I'm going to get a little can, like a pretend thing, like those things you just like pump, like a pump on it, like an ice cream machine, and call it the holiatizer. We're going to put stuff in and we're just going to pump it and we're going to holiatize it. But you holiatize it. So she starts with kind of holiatizing, right? She starts with holiatizing of like, I'm waiting on God. But then she says, but I also have this, possible other mentor that's going to help with this land thing that she's doing. What is the outcome that she wants most?
The outcome that she wants most is to have the funding and the know-how to build the buildings, the commercial or the buildings that she wants to build to
Okay,
help people.
When she, like, this is again, when somebody says I want consistent revenue, when she says I want like to build land and like she's still there's an amorphousness. So you need to still drill down. Like, how many properties are we talking about? Is she buying her first investment property or is she buying 50 residential apartment buildings?
So it's a development project that would be like an apartment building for seniors. And then she also wants to have a foundation. That was a part of her dream, foundations for people to be able to request funds and things like that. But the first one is a development project for more like an apartment building that senior citizens could come and live in. And then she wanted to serve the community by having a community center for kids.
Okay. So I want us to all realize that these are all great dreams. Everybody put great dreams and then put beside great dreams, ideas take a number. Like the good is the detriment of the best. If you want people to be able to scale and want them to grow, we've got to focus on one thing. Everybody put one thing in the chat. All men got to love this because your wife always says, I want one thing from the store. And then she says milk and eggs and butter and celery and carrots and chopsticks and pasta sauce. And you're like, oh my God, I thought I was getting one thing. Okay. So all you unitaskers, you're going to love the one thing. So part of this, Tavia, is we want to isolate. Somebody put isolate in the chat. We want to isolate what she really wants now. What is the one thing she's going to do next? So I would send her a message right now. I would say curious. And guys, we want to be the people who blow and speak life into dreams. Yes? So you can say, I love, because it's the truth. I love all these dreams. I love all these dreams. I love all the things that you want planned. And then say, so you don't have to say curious twice, but you can, just wondering, which project are you going to complete first? Stefan, you're going to have the same thing in leadership. Anybody else who's in a business coach or any of that kind of that kind of space, you're going to have people saying, I'm going to do this, I'm going to do this, I'm going to do this, and I'm going to have a record, and I'm going to go swimming, and I'm going to be in the Olympics, and I'm going to rescue 40 orphans all by next week. Right? All of us? Do we all have lists like that? Come on. I'm on that list. I think I'm a lot better after I adopted 5 abused kids. I think scaling to having 11 kids and running a law practice and buying a house that was like 4 times the price of like my original house, that got me into a whole different level of faith. So you need to get her to isolate. What is the one thing? What is the thing? What are we doing first? What are we doing first? Because she's telling you, just like clients say to me, I need leads. She's saying I need a land coach or whatever she called that. I'm calling it the land coach, guys. I don't know what that is, but I don't have a land coach. Maybe I need to get one, but I don't know what that is. Okay. But if you ask her and you get really clear on, right? She says she wants this, but she's also saying she's going to wait on God. She's actually saying, I am not probably going to do anything about this. I'm going to keep doing little things. But if we are all, and guys love it when I say this, because the guys love, like, let's just get this one thing done. But if we're doing 20 different things all at once, all you women, we're like this. We're starting the batter in the kitchen. We're talking on the phone with our friend. We got the thing open. We're working on this. We're getting something ready for one of the kids, right? But there's a huge chance that a lot of those things aren't actually going to get accomplished. Anybody ever gone to bed at night and you took everything out of your closet and you just left it there? You're like, I am too tired to put the things back in my closet. All right, let's be real, right? Or our garage, right? I don't do any of those things. But if I did, that's what I would do, because it's a lot. So we want to isolate. So everyone here, you're sending a message to your people that are warm. And you're going to send a very specific thing of the next thing. Maybe they said, I want to like reduce and simplify. And you just went, oh, that's wonderful. When are you looking to do that? Instead of asking more questions. Did they say, I want to 10x my business? Okay. Well, when you say 10x your business, what does that mean for you? We've got to get granular. Somebody put granular in the chat. You've got to get cellular. If you don't get cellular, granular conversation is the currency of the client. And it's what makes them feel seen, heard, and differentiated. All right. So we want to isolate what she's saying in here. Because if she says now, okay, well, the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to get this apartment building or whatever, the senior center, this project. I'm going to do this. And what do you need most to make that a reality? Because now we're just doing one, Tavia. What do you need? And remember, this would be a concerned tone. Okay, what do you need most? What do you need most to make that happen? Then she may say, well, I have this amount of money, and I'm going to need this amount from an investor. Because let's be real too, Tavia, if she really does need a land coach, even though we don't know what that is, you're going to let her go and be with a land coach. But if you know for sure she needs to 10x her cash flow, increase her mindset and her faith, by what it sounds like, she does need to work with you. And when we act passive about it, it's not holy. I want this to register. I'll just tell you why. Because when I first started, I didn't have a sales background. Now that I'm like the master of teaching how to do sales properly. But I actually think I'm the best person for it because I didn't have any bad training. I knew how to have excellent conversations. In the 10 years in the law practice of working with divorcing Christians and seeing a lot of people cry and a lot of heartache and a lot of pain, I learned how to ask a lot of questions. I actually had a wing in my home where I just met with people to pray with them. We want to ask the right questions to isolate what really is going on, to truly see if we can help them. And if you can, and you're not persuading, there's other things that are going on within you. I want everyone to hear this. If you're chickening out or you're feeling fearful or you're thinking, well, sales just, I don't want to be salesy. Selling is holy and it's the best thing for your person. Okay. So we've isolated, we know this. So then what can you do at that point? Tavia, what do you need to do then? This is what I think she's going to say. I don't know because I don't know your client. What do you think she's going to say from here?
I think that, hmm, um, I think, I think that she's gonna say that the first, the first thing she's going to complete, that she would like to complete, is the apartment complex.
Mm-hmm. And what does she need to make that happen?
And I think what she needs to make that happen, I think she feels like she needs somebody to like walk her through the process who's already done it before.
Right, which she doesn't
Between
need
that
that
and
yet.
funding. Hmm.
Right. So what I would also look up too is because she probably needs to figure out how to get the cash together and then she's going to be able to do the rest, I think. Right? Right. Maybe, maybe not. You've got, you tell me.
I don't have an expertise in the field, but I'm sure if she
Right.
had the money, there wouldn't be nearly as many obstacles.
Right. Okay. So what is it, the belief that is the dominant belief that she needs to have before you can move forward?
Two things come to mind. Well, a spiritual side, but then a natural side. One spiritual side is that God gave us the power to create wealth, not to just sit there and wait for it to come to us. Like, but I think for her, she's received a prophetic word that there's somebody that's going to help her be like a quote unquote land coach. Um, so I think what she would probably need to believe is that, I don't know. I feel like what if this along the journey will help you to bring in that person as you're in motion, but I'm not 100% sure. What else does she need to believe?
Well, and
Um,
in some ways that prophetic word is getting in her way. And I'll give you an example. I was at church a few weeks ago and we have lots of different locations. I go to the same location all the time, but we end up having different people at our locations because we have so many locations. It's really growing. It's awesome. During the service, there was this guy who was singing on the worship team. He totally didn't look like a worship singer. I was like, looks like my husband, like just awkward, and it's like just like you don't look like a singer. I'm thinking. I didn't say that to him, but after the Holy Spirit said you need to talk to him. So because I'm starting up an entrepreneurship wing at our church for entrepreneurs to be able to fund a $15 million building for the university students. Anyhow, so I went to go talk to him and I just said, hi, whatever, what do you do? And he said, oh, I own a painting company. And then he started sharing some things. I told him I didn't really talk about myself because I like to ask people questions. Come on, guys, we don't want to meet that person. So I just started asking questions. When you ask questions, can people tell that you know things? Do you have to tell them you know things? If you ask questions and you can show up and solve problems, they know you know things. They don't need to see your CV. Anyways, so I started to just chat with him. And he said, you know what? Last Tuesday, somebody came up to me and gave me a prophetic word. They said, you're going to be meeting somebody shortly who's going to give you all the tools that you've been asking for that you need in your toolbox. He goes, that might be you. It didn't come from me saying everything. So you asking her the questions, Tavia, you're going to unlock her in such a way that she's going to go, hold up. They said a land coach, but to get land, you need what? Money,
money.
faith, mindset, right? All those things that are coming that are so important. So I think part of it, I think she's missing, right? So again, guys, we don't want to say it. We want to unlock it. Somebody put unlock it. The highest form of persuasion is self-persuasion. If you ask her the questions, right? So let's try this with an audio. Do you want to try an audio to close out, guys? and then I'll give you the homework. The homework's right in your workbook. So I want you to be into those conversations deeply with the 5 people, and you're going to report on it tomorrow morning. Here we go. We're going to go into an audio with her. So first ask the question, because we want to make sure that you're going to be able to isolate what it is that she's doing. You want to be able to, because if she says, yes, it's this land project, then you need to be able to talk to her about the fact, well, maybe it's God. Maybe it's God that's brought you to her, and you want her to say it, not you. Is everybody with me on this? But there is also a time to persuade. And I want you guys to see that persuasion is holy. You only persuade once you know that what you do is going to benefit them the most. And then you talk to them in that currency. All right. This is you're talking to your person. Hey, beautiful. I want to speak to something with love because I think it's really important. I hear that you're saying that you want to wait on God, and you know what? I honor that. I never rush someone past discernment. But I also want to lovingly ask, what if this is not waiting on God anymore? What if this is a fear trying to sound spiritual? Because sometimes when we say I'm waiting on God, when God has already given us the vision, the desire, the opportunity, and the next step. And the next step is not always another coach, another idea, or another thing to explore. Sometimes the next step is obedience through focused action. I don't think you need to scatter your energy right now. I don't think you need 5 projects, 5 opinions, or another person trying to help you build something that still does not create cash flow. I think you need to choose one clear money-making project, get the support you need, and learn how to turn what you already carry into income. Because before you step into that next big layer, you need to know that you can create cash from your own leadership, your own offer, your own voice, and your own decision. That is the muscle we need to build. And I say this because I see something in you. You're not lacking calling. You're not lacking intelligence. You are not lacking potential. But potential without focus will keep costing you. You do not need more delay dressed up as discernment. You need a container, accountability, strategy, and someone helping you stay with one aligned project long enough for it to produce fruit. So here's my challenge. Let's choose the project. Let's simplify the path. Let's build a sales machine. Let's create the cash. Then from that place, you can make the next decision with power instead of pressure. Would you be against us looking at one project that can create the clearest cash flow for you now and building a focused plan around that together? How are you feeling?
I feel good.
I mean, you got to be sure, right? You want to isolate, guys. You want
Right.
to isolate what the one thing is, and then see, I'm going into it. You're going to let me know what she says. But lean into what that is, and then she's going to see that she needs you to be able to create the wealth to make that happen. Not look for a project manager to help set up the land. That's a waste of time. Right now. Maybe down the road, but right now, that's what she needs. So go after it, Tavia. Okay?
Thank you.
You can help her 10x this. All right, guys, I am so proud of you all for completing so much already in just day 1. And so tomorrow, be prepared with your questions, your wins, and reaching out to the 5 people that you know are warm and they are needing that next step and they are needing further clarification. So, Father, we thank you so much. We thank you for the amazing things that you've done in our midst, and we trust you to 10x our businesses while simplifying our lives. We come against all lies that are telling us that it's going to have to be more and more difficult and more work. The Lord, we can use wisdom and discernment and decision intelligence to help our clients and ourselves to curate the business that we really love. And we give you all the glory for all of the things. Guys, put all of the things in the chat. All of these things that you're believing for, we give you all the glory in Jesus' name. Amen. Yes, same link every day. The team will reach out to you guys. If you have any questions, of course, you can reach out to us anytime. Big love to you guys. We'll see you tomorrow.